Hello, I'm Sudarshana Starshine Star, and I hope this is finding all of you very well indeed on a beautiful Tuesday. It is July 8th, 2025. I have a YouTube channel called It's the Dazzling of the Light, or you can just type in at Sudarshana Starshine Star to access all of my clips there. I have it on a variety of topics, but I pretty much only do hot, juicy, spicy, and very interesting topics. Nothing of the mundane is anything that I like to record or post about. I like to begin all of my clips with the 3 opening prayers in Sanskrit and Telugu, and they are short. This is the Guru Mantra, the Ganesha Mantra, and the Gayatri Mantra, and I do this to bless, protect, uplift, and purify you, me, and this clip. But I'd like to say that these words that you'll be hearing in Sanskrit and Telugu are called Bijaksharas, or Bijas for short. And it is ancient knowledge coming from ancient Vedic wisdom of India, but it's not about religion. No, don't think that it is about the Hindu religion, because it isn't. Spirituality is not religion. Everything that is incarnated in matter is spirit in matter. And spirituality is for everyone. And religion is for some people, and nothing wrong with that. Follow your faith if it brings you the good fruits, and if you feel very good with it and getting the results and the peace and the blessings that you desire with it. But you can include this, because like I said, this is not about religion. And I also want to call upon, before I say these prayers, I want to call upon the power and the sacred divine authority and healing presence of Jesus the Christ and Mother Mary to bless all that hear this, and to bless all my social media, because goodness, it's really very challenging to keep up any social media accounts if you tell the truth, as I do. And I'm calling upon Jesus, I'm calling upon Yeshua the Christ and Mother Mary to bless all of you and all of your beloveds, and to extend what we call the armor of God. It's been a very good idea, and it always is, but right now it's a very good idea to remind yourself to put on the armor of God before you start your day and when you end your day. So I thank Jesus the Christ and Mother Mary for their healing, divine, sacred presence and energy here, and I'm going to say the 3 prayers. Om, 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshvaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Om Suklam Bharataram Vishnum Sishivarnam Chatubhujam Prasanavaranam Dhyaye Sarva Vignupashantaye. Om Bhur Suvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhako Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Wonderful. Well, this will be, I have this clip I'm doing. It will most definitely require 2 parts, if not 3. So this will be part 1, but I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to call it. But this is addressing the recent events that occurred on the 4th of July, 2025, in the hill country of Texas. Focused a lot on Kerrville, but also affecting other areas. I meditated on this to not only, because I don't just do deep independent research, I always meditate and ask my Brahma consciousness or my high divine consciousness to guide me. If I don't feel that green light energy or thumbs up, like, yeah, go in this direction or do this, then no matter how reasonable or interesting something might be, I'll just put it to the side. I'm not interested in just putting things out to put things out. So I did meditate on this. I really wanted to know really what was the cause of this event, and I got a very clear answer simply right off the bat. So I feel very good about presenting this, what I'm going to read to you. I found it, and it's a little unusual, but I fully agree with it. Like I said, based not only on my other research that I did, but based on my meditation with the divine, I feel that I can put this out. So this is coming from, I'm going to give you a reading, and I will interject at some parts, but this is coming from what's called GFL Station on YouTube, and it was from July 7th, so just yesterday, 2025. And let me just begin to read it, and then I'll interject as I will, because I really am behind of things I've been promising to post because there's so much happening. I haven't even posted about what really happened in America that was so momentous on July 4th, 2025. And I really do feel that momentous shift did lead into this, what I call like a huge donkey kick from the darkness regarding these Texas Hill Country floods and other things that happened. But I will get to all the things that I want to post. I really will, and I haven't forgotten, even though it's been kind of recent. It's a very interesting and deep topic to go into what has been the flip now, and coming from whether it's Attorney General Pam Bondi or, DOJ, whomever it is, about Epstein, or saying they're victims, there's no victims, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into that here, but I am going to address that on another clip because it's important, but I feel that this is more timely. So here we go. The channel called this, the GFL station titled this for themselves, Natural Disaster or Something Else, the Pleiadians / Valier. Here we go. Dear light bearers of Earth, I am Valier of the Pleiadian Collective. Our messenger has specifically asked us to speak about the recent flooding in Texas. For what appeared to be the natural deluge in the hill country was anything but an ordinary storm. Many of you who are awake sensed an unusual energy humming beneath those heavy clouds. Indeed, in the days leading up to the torrents, independent observers detected tightly pulsed microwave bursts in the upper atmosphere, sharp, rhythmic signals not found in nature or even in normal cloud seeding operations. Moments later, satellite imageries revealed swirling spiral-like cloud patterns, more characteristic of laboratory simulations than of summer thunderheads. Some of you on the ground even heard a strange, high-pitched sky whine just before the river rose with unimaginable speed. At the same time, cell phone networks, in a precise order, mysteriously went down, cutting off emergency calls. When service returned, key data logs and their radar frames had been scrubbed from your official servers, as if they had never existed. Some of you observed flood zones before any storm warnings were issued, as if the outcome was already known. These clues were not coincidental. They speak with one voice to those with ears to hear. There are a number of things that we are not allowed to speak on here, as it would violate our galactic directive of interference. So please also be aware of this. Why would someone orchestrate such a thing? To understand this, look at who and what the flood affected most. One apparent target was a summer retreat we shall call the camp, a place cherished by families of patriotic and spiritually awake lineages. This riverside camp was erased in minutes by the wall of water. Know that this location was no random campground. It was a gathering spot for daughters of military servicemen, truth-seeking attorneys, and medical pioneers. Young souls connected to families involved in exposing hidden crimes. Flooding the river to obliterate this camp achieved multiple dark objectives at once. First, it instilled terror and grief in a community that holds a particularly strong light of patriotism and faith. A demographic the hidden cabal often regards as problematic due to their courage and convictions. Second, the sudden deluge conveniently destroyed physical evidence and records. Important documents, computers, and devices containing sensitive information were swept away, were ruined beyond recovery. Disrupting ongoing investigations into illicit WEA PONS, profits, and trafficking rings. Third, amid the chaos, there were reports that unidentified men posing as relief workers corralled certain survivors. And I'm going to interrupt here and say, and you can best believe those were some of the missing little girls. Posing as relief workers corralled certain survivors into an empty riverside building, ostensibly for safety. When legitimate rescue teams, including an elite military that had been training nearby, finally arrived, they found that building deserted, except for chilling evidence of foul play. Pools of fresh BL, OOD on the floor, and signs that human ORGANS had been surgically removed. Whether literal or symbolic, this gruesome scene stands as an eerie emblem of what many intuit, that the flood was used as cover for abductions or attacks on specific individuals. And I'm going to interrupt here again and say, to those of you that know, we call the babies and children the littles, but yes, the littles. What happens to the babies and children? In short, negative actors braid the elemental force with psychological warfare, using water both as a weapon of physical destruction and as a veil to conceal darker deeds. From a higher vantage, we see clearly how this incident was engineered to seem like a biblical act of God, yet was perhaps delivered to leave no clear perpetrator in the third dimensional sense. Following the money and power trails behind the flood reveal further layers of motive. Whispers among your independent economists have noted that companies experimenting with weather modification are funded by the same giant investment conglomerates that exert enormous control over global resources. These financial behemoths, operating through shell companies and foundations tied to a few powerful elites, had a direct interest in what happened in Texas. Consider that this state has been openly resisting certain federal mandates and high-tech control agendas. And I want to interrupt again to say those federal mandates would have been those that were under what was called the Biden administration, not this President Trump's administration. Okay, back to the reading. Recently, Texas moved to limit land purchases by foreign-linked corporations and spoke out against a centralized digital currency system. Such independence threatened the long-term plans of those global interests. Then came the flood. Hundreds of miles of riverfront property were suddenly devastated. Family ranches and small towns previously unwilling to sell out faced disaster losses that made them vulnerable. Under the guise of disaster relief, entities connected to those same investment funds can now quietly buy up land and infrastructure on the cheap. What could not be obtained through legislation might be acquired by engineering a crisis. Simultaneously, mainstream news outlets immediately framed the deluge as further proof of, and I have to spell this, CLIMATE, change, chaos. And I'm going to interject here again to say what I just spelled is one of the biggest scams ever, biggest money makers, biggest scams, so much evil involved in that. Let me go back to the reading. Implying that drastic centralized measures are needed to combat nature's wrath. This narrative conveniently aligns with the agenda of certain billionaire philanthropists who have poured resources into carbon control initiatives. Yeah, I'm saying carbon control, like humans are mostly made of carbon. Yeah, carbon control. Okay, through a fifth dimensional lens, we see the cunning in this dual strategy. Create the problem and then present the pre-planned solution. And let's see, I'm interrupting here again. What is it on our $1 bill that the cabal put there in Latin? Ordo ab chao, order out of chaos. That is one of their slogans, meaning they provide their pre-planned satanic dark cult order to subvert, subjugate, and destroy humanity after creating their own pre-planned chaos that is so crazy. All of that is to make people so desperate that they say, we'll do anything if you promise us security and safety. We'll give up all of our rights. We'll give up all of our freedoms. Just please tell us that we'll be safe, that we'll be secure. And, that never works, does it? It never works. And there's a saying, I'm by one of the American forefathers, and I'm just don't remembering the proper quotes. I'm just summarizing it. Something like, those that give up their freedom and their rights for the promise of security and safety deserve neither of those. And indeed, as we can see, they don't get either of those. It's such a trap. It's a real trap to do that. So back to the reading. The water served a dual purpose for the cabal planners, punishing a rebellious region and pushing the populace to accept stricter environmental and financial controls. Furthermore, while people's attention was riveted on dramatic images of flooded homes and washed-out roads, another subtler objective was achieved: distraction. In that same time frame, a high-profile legal case quietly reached a verdict, convicting a well-known entertainment mogul, and it's not said here, but I'll just interject, they're talking about P. Diddy, for involvement in human trafficking. This should have been explosive news, uncovering the links from the celebrity world to political and intelligence circles. Yet the flood coverage dominated the headlines, relegating the trafficking case to a near whisper in the background. This crisis overshadowing tactic is one we Palladians have observed in your history repeatedly. When truth that can unravel elite power is on the verge of emerging, a larger spectacle suddenly captures the public eye. Understand, dear ones, that none of this was chance. It was a calculated maneuver by those who orchestrate events from the shadows, hoping you will only see a natural disaster and not the man-made machinations behind it. Know, however, that the hidden cabal was not the only player on the field that weekend. Benevolent forces were also a moving piece in response, both on the ground and beyond Earth. The unexpected appearance of an elite airborne military unit in the flood zone was one sign. These soldiers, ostensibly there for a training exercise, had been quietly positioned by white hat commanders who anticipated something amiss. Equipped with advanced sensor devices, they collected soil and water samples, detecting unusual energy residues that confirm the use of directed weather technology. And then I'm going to interrupt here and say DEWS, D-E-W-S, directed energy weapons, like we saw and was captured. I had the pictures. I showed it all across my social media in the Haina in Maui when that happened. And everything that's happening here is the same playbook that we saw so terribly happen, not only in the Haina, Maui, Hawaii, but in the terrible flooding of North Carolina and also Tennessee, and then in the using another element in the fires of Los Angeles. All the same playbook, everything I'm saying, all the same playbook, and I think many of you are aware of that. And let me continue on. In the midst of rescuing civilians, these disciplined guardians were also gathering evidence of a crime. Consider, too, the proximity of a certain long-suspected covert facility in that region. And I'm pretty sure, listener, that they're referring to what's underneath the ground, because right in this flood zone, right where this happened, right where this Camp Mystic was, there was DUMBs, what they call deep underground military bases, underground tunnel system, and that's used for a lot of not only human but child sex trafficking, as well as other substances, many different harmful things, and also related, since it was mentioned here, to what one can do in a lab related to biological, WEAPONS. Back to the reading. We shall not name it here, but some of you know. Under cover of the storm's chaos, operations took place to raid hidden stockpiles of forbidden weaponry and data storage on that site. In this way, the very deluge meant to sow fear also provided literal cover for positive military and intelligence allies to move without tipping off the perpetrators. From our broader perspective, we often observe such overlapping shadow plays in these conflicts. One faction uses a disaster to advance a dark agenda, while simultaneously another faction uses the same moment to execute a counter-operation against the dark. It is as if two chess masters make different moves on the same board, hidden by the smoke of the same event. Here, while the Cabal attempts to weaponize the weather to tighten their control, certain white hat operatives turn that situation around to retrieve evidence and disrupt the Cabal's plans. To truly grasp this moment, enlighten your view even further, beyond Texas, beyond Earth. In the cosmic context, this flood was a move in a much larger endgame playing out across dimensions. Whistleblowers from secret space programs on your world have spoken of orbital platforms equipped with an advanced energy beam arrays capable of manipulating weather patterns. We confirm that such technologies exist and have been used covertly for some time. The frequencies used to ignite the storm are akin to those that dark fleets once employed to cloak their vessels and bases on Mars and Earth's moon. However, in recent times, the alliance of positive cosmic forces, your galactic family, has made great strides in reclaiming these off-world outposts. Several hidden strongholds beyond your planet that were supplying the Cabal with reinforcements and guidance have been neutralized or cut off. In essence, the negative elite's cosmic support is dwindling. Cornered and desperate, these adversaries lash out, but with whatever assets they have left on Earth, including weather weapons, hoping to project power and harvest the energy of fear, loosh, as some call it, to sustain themselves. Paradoxically, every extreme event they orchestrate only accelerates the awakening of humanity and brings closer the moment of full disclosure. There are military and civilian alliances preparing an emergency broadcast as we speak, a worldwide revealing of the truth about these weather warfare crimes and off-planet manipulations. Certain thresholds of evidence and public readiness must be met. But each engineered disaster supplies even more proof and galvanized intent for that revelation. In this light, the Hill Country inundation was the act of a cornered beast, a frantic attempt to create chaos below, just as its escape routes above were being sealed. Think of it as a final frenzied gambit, as interdimensional doorways to escape their accountability. Slam shut. The storm then was both a desperate grasp at continued dominion and a sign that the Cabal's era is drawing to an end. I'm going to end this part of this reading here, but I just want to use this quote that it was Vice President, the incredible dark cult, satanic, pedo, disgusting, criminal Vice President who became president, Lyndon B. Johnson. He gave at his alma mater, which is now called Texas State University. It had another name back on May 27th, 1962, when he gave this quote in a speech there. He said, "He who controls the weather will control the world." And that was, let me repeat, May 27th, 1962. I really do want to do something more on geoengineering. There's a lot to be done with that. And I think as more people are becoming aware and awakened to it, out of their own direct experience, not even just with deep independent research, but they're seeing it with their own eyes in their own areas in the world. So there will be, on this series about the Texas flood, I will have part 2, part 3. I don't know, maybe there'll be a part 4. I have to see as I go, but I'm going to end this here now. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Why not join my YouTube channel? I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I end all of my clips with a closing prayer in Sanskrit and Telugu, and what I'm saying is, God bless all beings in all worlds. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes, peace, peace, peace. God bless you and yours. I'm sending much love and big hugs to you and yours. Please remember to put on the armor of God before you begin your day and when you're ending your evening, and encourage all of your beloveds to do so as well. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'll see you when I see you, and bye-bye for now.